welcome back to another More Than You Can Chew. I'm excited because, well, my guest did a webinar with me and really provided some incredible insights for those webinar attendees. So, here at More Than You Can Chew, we want to bring her over and give some more valuable insights for everyone. Susan Yen, SearchLab's one of SearchLab's PPC team leads. It's you that can't talk this afternoon. Well, Susan's here because guess what? She's passionate about driving customer growth. She's passionate about increasing sales, generating high quality leads through strategic and innovative digital marketing. She's got over 7 years of agency and in house experience, specializing in crafting PPC campaigns that deliver results, minimizing budget waste, and maximizing ROI, which is why she's perfect for today's topic. But there's more. She's a team leader, a speaker, a lifelong learner. So she's even been hitting the stage across the US, teaching people how to do PPC even better. So, Susan Yen, thanks for joining us on More Than You Can Chew.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited to continue, the adventures of learning and helping other experts and just customers also understand paid search so that they can make better decisions.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about some PPC power here, right? We want to talk about feeding the machines better signals. And we know that, listen, Google and Meta could be sort of black boxes, right? If you don't give them good data, if you don't put up guardrails, or if you feed them bad data, they're going to spend your money on bad leads. We want to be less worried about keyword targeting and more worried about signal targeting and using those the data points to make better recommendations. So I want to bust the hype here, and I need you to do it for us. But you know why why are auto applied recommendations often a budget trap, and what sort of guardrails do we need for humans to implement for greater ROI? And so just kind of talk to us about like the pitfalls of this auto applied recommendations and what you recommend better to feed better signals to get better leads.
Yeah, of course. Anytime that you launch a Google account or even a Bing account, honestly, with most social, like just platforms in general, is that the automated and auto apply suggestions are supposed to be honestly suggestions. It is not supposed to be applied throughout. It's going to go through your account and it's going to call out some things you might need to pay attention to. And for the most part, they are automatically selected. So you do have to go in the back end and turn on some of those or turn off some of them. And most of them, they are, hey, here's a match type that might not work really well or a match type that isn't driving the most amount of traffic. So let's go ahead and increase that and make it into a broad match. So that's an auto apply, which you don't want because not every traffic that you get is good traffic. So if you're going from a certain particular match type that controls the traffic, you took time and energy to create and get that data and figure out, which match type works the best for me, only to have the auto apply change that and kind of open the floodgates to everyone is not really great. So you want to keep an eye on, match type changes or anything like that. Another one is just automated ad copy creations. Every industry is very different. They speak very differently. And you really want to make sure that when you are creating ad copy, that it is unique to your company, to where you guys are going, and also just unique to that particular campaign. And having just, some random computer creating ads and just writing random ads that might not make sense for you. And when they auto apply, you don't really necessarily know that it's been changed or added in there until you go in and there's a column that you can, create or pull in that says, hey, these are the ads that we've created for you. So if you're not careful, you're just kind of blindly throwing content out there that may not be the best fit for your company. So you really want to make sure that when you have these auto apply, and this a huge list, and feel free to reach out to me, and I'm more than happy to talk through what those are. It is a huge list, and it's just if you're not careful with what you allow in, then you're not seeing, and you really can't control what people see, when people see it, how they're searching for you, how you're showing up. And that is the whole point of just paid search in general, is that you get to choose when, where, how you get to show up and to allow the auto apply. That just you take away that control that you have. And if you allow these auto apply recommendations to just kind of go wild, you will lose money. Broad match is if you don't put guardrails and you don't put those negatives and you don't put those exclusions, you your computer and your whole entire account was run rapid. And no one wants that. It's because there's nothing worse than getting into a meeting with the client and them asking you, "Hey, what's that search term report like? What are we actually showing up for?" And you're pulling that up, and it does not look good. And they probably spend thousands of dollars showing up for the wrong things, or they have a screenshot of an ad they just saw of themselves, and it doesn't say the things that they agreed upon or the things that have anything to do with their business in general. So just be careful with how you decide you show up. And auto apply is something that I think it's great if you do it right. There are some auto applies that are great. Like, hey, if there are duplicates and close variants in my accounts, please shut them off. I don't need to go through and, clean that up myself. That would be amazing. And then there's maybe a couple, that's probably the only one I like to check in there. But there's a couple other ones that might be okay, but definitely use them as, let's say, suggestions and recommendations. Don't use it as oh, I haven't been in this account for a while, and therefore I'm just going to apply it. You can always go into the change histories, especially in Google or Microsoft, and you can see if your agency is applying all of those auto recommendations. I highly recommend if you have an agency or an account manager or something, go and try to see what they are applying, because it does make our jobs easier, but that doesn't make it high quality work with that account or those campaigns. So that's kind of my take on auto apply. Definitely keep an eye on it. It's getting better, but you still need that human touch for sure.
So you mentioned broad match actually twice. So that must biggest, the most egregious offender. Are there any other primary ones that you see as being the biggest budget wasters, or do they all just kind of equally waste budget?
I think they waste budget based just in their own way, depending on the campaign and the campaign type and what your goal is with that campaign. There are campaigns that there are auto recommendations that adjust your bids, or they just change your automated bidding strategy. And there are several automated bidding strategy. There's ones that change your target CPA. You really want to make sure that when those, especially anything that's bid related, budget related, because it's gonna say, hey, look, your budget is too low or it's limited with budget. Let's go ahead and like increase it. And sometimes they'll do it for you, and sometimes it won't. You just need to make sure that when you are clicking yes and you're saying go ahead and make those changes, um, then you took some time and you really thought about it, not, oh, here we go. We're just gonna go ahead and take these suggestions and treat it as though it's gold and it's the answer to all my problems. So I think depending on honestly what your goal is with particular campaigns, I think that most of the auto applies, if you're not careful about what you are putting into your system, it can waste your money because every campaign has its own reasonings for running. Like if I want traffic versus conversions versus I just want to show up, I want people to see me. Those are different from each other. And if you're applying the same things across all of your campaigns, it's not really that helpful. Again, auto applies can be helpful. You just need to set guardrails. And if you do it right, those things, those RFIs can be really, really helpful.
Now, I would imagine that, and I've never been in a Google Ads account, so I'm going to speak. I'm going to ask the dumb questions here for the viewers. So, with these auto applies, is it just a matter of just toggling them off, or is it there are different parameters to set, or sort of how to like what how do you set these guardrails to control, have better control manually over the ads?
Yeah, they're normally located under account settings, because within, especially within Google, because that's what everyone uses. If you're running paid search, you're usually probably running Google. So within the Google platform, there are the ways the campaigns set up isn't in like a tree. So you have your account settings, and then you have your campaigns and your accurates and your keywords. It is underneath the account settings. So you need to go in there, and then there is an auto apply section, so you can click into there. I believe it's under like advanced settings or something, or you can go into under settings, and then auto apply, and it'll have a list of the highly most recommended auto applies, and then underneath there's other stuff. So definitely go in there, and you can toggle them on and off whenever you want. So it's just when you first run accounts or you have a new account, those things are just automatically checked on. kind of similar to whenever you add a brand new keyword, it's automatically a broad keyword unless you decide and you clarify to the system which match type you want. The amount of times I've seen people add keywords or add things and not change it back to where it is. Because again, that's an auto thing that happens because Google recommends and wants you to use that because that is the most interaction that you're going to get with your customers. So definitely go in there. That anytime I get a brand new account, whether it's a new launch, a new account, whether that is cleaning up an account, is I go into the auto apply, just make sure that is cleaned up first and foremost to me. Like if I'm gonna clean it up, I don't need other stuff in the back end also having their hands in the pot because you don't need that. That's a lot to do. So it's definitely you can go ahead and toggle on and off. And once the account is clean and once you believe that you have this solid foundation, then go in there and click the ones and choose the ones that you want that make the most amount of sense for your business for sure.
Great. And I had mentioned Meta. I don't know how much you're diving into Meta with your clients. Is there anything that's similar to that, or it's such a different platform? There's not really any equivalence.
It's such a different platform, but there are similar equivalences. I mean, social media platforms in general just our own. It's a its own monster in itself, and there are certain things that you will need to. It'll say we recommend you do these, or these are the things we recommend you apply. That doesn't mean you need to apply, it, especially with like Advantage Plus. Because again, with Facebook, they want interactions. They're trying to push as much interaction with your content as possible. Do they really care about the results of that? Like, what does those leads look like to you? They're just because Facebook will spend and can spend, and it definitely will. Once you set your audiences and stuff. So just make sure that when you are adding any new, auto created images, especially with just the different placements of Facebook ads, is that there are certain you can place your Facebook ads everywhere, whether it's on a story, it's on a reel, it's on wherever it is. You really need to, because not every single ad that you launch out there fits in each, let's say, medium. Because when you're on a story, which is just it's 10 sec it's not even 10 seconds, it's like a couple seconds, people watch it and then they go off and do something, and that is now gone. It's just something that you need to repeatedly edit and audit and whatnot. And then there's like the stories and you have your messages. So I always highly suggest you choose where you want this ad and where you want these things to be placed, and automatically they are all selected. So go in there and say, hey, what is the goal of this particular campaign? And also, who are my audiences and who am I talking to? I personally don't like to see ads in my messaging. I'm not on Facebook very often unless I'm doing work. But there are certain places that make sense for your business to be versus certain places that it doesn't. So there are kind of equivalencies of, auto stuff that happens. I always just say, hey, look, there's always going to be recommendations. The system's always going to try to make your job easier, but that doesn't necessarily make it quality job of quality work. So always, whenever it's recommended and it's selected, just take a moment and think about whether or not it makes sense.
Great. So the crux of it, before we pivot to the last little segment, is just the crux of it is sort of understand the objective of what the ad is trying to accomplish, and then audit. Just go through those different auto apply, those different recommendations, audit, and be discerning. Use your human intelligence to say this makes sense, this doesn't, and then apply what makes the most sense. Choose a person, and then adjust as the data kind of informs the strategy, and pivot and update as you go. All right, look, I sound pretty smart, right? That's because I talk to smart people. So, Susan, before I let you go, of course, you are a repeat guest, and you can anticipate this question coming, but it's the most difficult question I ask every guest is, if in all of your travels, if someone's in a particular city, even if it's your hometown, this is a place you got to go check out. This is like, whether it's the atmosphere, the food, the drink, whatever it might be, this is it.
Let's see. I just moved again. So I currently in Austin near Different Springs area. And there's this new restaurant that we just tried out. It's called The League. It is around the Belterra area. It is great steak. If you like steak and there is some seafood. We did a tuna tartare, and all that food is great. It's a great atmosphere. It's very relaxed, and also there are kids that have gone in there, so it's kids friendly as well if you have kids. So definitely, I think that the league is a really great one, especially because there are also other locations in Austin that the league has. I'm just not exactly sure what those locations are, but I think I like nice quality things, and if I'm going to spend my money on food, which I love, I think I work out just to stop my face. Definitely go to the league for sure.
All right. You heard it, folks. Make sure if you're in Austin, hit that place up. Susan Yen, thank you as always for joining us on More Than You Can Chew.
Thank you so much, Dane.
Yeah. And everyone, I'll see you next time when we take a bite out of more than we can chew.